1 week season.
Guys, today Hilow is going to put together a build that is building around the chalk. He thinks a couple of pieces are going to be very popular this week. But given that it's Tuesday, we're going to look at a way that you can build around that smartly, and Hilow is going to break that all down for us. With that, guys, I'm Cheeseman, your host. He is Hilow. This is the DFS Lab, presented by 1 week season. Would love if you guys would give a like, subscribe to the channel, and with that, let's get right into it. Hilow, how's it going, man?
Good, dude. Stoked to be back. This is a very interesting week. There's a couple of spots that I expect to be mega chalky. It's Tuesday, so take that for what it's worth, I suppose.
Right, exactly. Very early in the week.
But I wanted to show, that we can build around chalk, and chalk isn't always bad. In fact, with projections getting better and with Sims now in the fold, players are a little bit more like chalk for a reason, we'll say. And the field isn't always going to get it right. I think they might get it right this week. So we'll talk about some of those players that we're going to build around the chalk and show that it can be done.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Let's just you want to just jump right into DraftKings here, find a contest?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
start
stick to the single entry stuff, whether it's the red zone or whether it's the spy immaterial for our discussion.
Love that. I'll just jump into the red zone. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, is this kind of like, do you want to start with this high level look of why you expect these pieces that we haven't mentioned yet that you expect to be chalk, or kind of overall look at the slate here?
Yeah, let's talk about these two pieces. So Quinshon Judkins is playing the Miami Dolphins and is effectively the bulk of this Cleveland offense. We have David Njoku, who was injured. He injured a knee in the second quarter last week. He attempted to gut through it, came back to the game twice, and then eventually could not play anymore in the fourth quarter. So he's out. And why that's important is because with the rookie quarterback under center, we've seen the offense just kind of be focused on Judkins and the tight ends. So we expect, if Njoku is out, we should expect Harold Fannin to potentially set a career high in snap rate and involvement in the offense for week 7. But beyond that, we know this team just wants to hammer the football on the ground. So I'd expect Judkins to be popping on optimizers. I'd expect him to be popping in projections. Last week against the Steelers, they were getting blown out the entirety of the game. They only managed the 3 field goals, and they were never able to move the football effectively. That should not be the case against the Miami Dolphins. Now we're getting talk from Tua that the team needs to take more ownership, and he didn't necessarily call anybody out. He was saying we the whole time, but it was he intimated that people were skipping player only meetings. And he has done so in the past too. So that was kind of a weird situation. And then Mike McDaniel was forced to backtrack and be he probably shouldn't have said that, but he did. So here we are. The state of that team is not great right now. So we should expect the Browns to move the football a little bit better. If they are scoring touchdowns, it's highly likely to be Quinshon Judkins that is finding those scores. We saw 2 weeks in a row, he had 25 opportunities in each game. Again, they struggled with time of possession. They struggled with moving the football against the Steelers. Should not be the case against the Dolphins. So he's a solid play on paper for this week. We'll go ahead and throw him in, understanding that he's probably going to be a chalkier piece on this slate.
And one question I did have with that is we're talking, you kind of led off with the field is getting sharper in some ways, projections, Sims, all that kind of stuff. Is this a few years ago, I don't know, maybe before 2020, it's looking at, do you think that his ownership would have been lower just because last week he didn't have an impressive game, just the 3.6 fantasy points, but now it's the field looks past that and they look at the usage, the metrics, and they say, it doesn't matter what he had last week. He's a great play this week.
Yeah, I think the field is getting better at checking their own biases with players. And he's gonna pop on projections. And again, it's Tuesday. I'm not looking at projections. This is just me spitballing here, but he's probably going to pop on projections as one of the top point per dollar plays on the slate.
Yeah.
And whether or not we need that, I don't know yet. I don't have a good feel with the slate. It's only Tuesday. Because there were a number of key injuries last week as well. We don't get access to like Devontae Adams and Kyron Williams with Puka's injury because they're playing in London. We don't get access to some of these other injuries, but I would expect, so where we're sitting right now, Tuesday at noon, when we're recording this, that Judkins is going to see some heavy ownership this week.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tend to agree with you. And I mean, I absolutely think he's a solid play. We'll see what develops later in the week in terms of value. All right, so we got Judkins in there. What piece do you want to look at next that you expect will be chalky?
The other player that I expect is now a wide receiver, Rashee Rice. He's priced at only $5,600, and we've seen now the past 3 weeks where this Kansas City Chiefs offense is waking up, particularly the last 2 weeks with Patrick Mahomes putting up close to 30 or more fantasy points in each of those games. So we have Rashee Rice coming back. He's probably not going to see any negative biases against him because he's not coming back from injury. Like, he's been practicing this whole time. He's been with the team. He's not been able to play with that 6-game suspension. So with Rashee Rice at only 5,600, we have Xavier Worthy-Reeling. We have Tyquan Thornton, who played like 40%, something like that, or 20-something percent of the offensive snaps last week. Don't know why, but just kind of was that way. So Rice should immediately step into the like premier pass catching role in this offense for an offense that is now leading the league in pass rate over expectation. Their offense has turned a corner, so to speak, over the last 2 games. I expect Rashee Rice to be at only 5,600, could push for 25-30% ownership this week. Fantastic play on paper against a Raiders defense that has structurally underperformed against the pass, and they play the most cover 3 out of any team in the league, above 50%. So what does that typically do? Intermediate primary targets are going to feast against that, and that is exactly who Rashee Rice is.
And why is Kansas City passing more right now, would you say, as opposed to running the ball? Have they made like a mindset shift, in your opinion?
They've always been a pass-heavy team with Patrick Mahomes, and they have struggled to move the football on the ground. Like, they have a 3-man rotation at running back. We've seen Isaiah Pacheco not look himself, and he's coming off of a major injury, a broken leg. So it makes sense that we shouldn't see his efficiency really pop back to where it was prior to the injury until next year. And then it's like we have Brashard, who is like a pass catcher only. He's going to see a handful of package work. And then an aging veteran that has 0 efficiency in his own right in Kareem Hunt. So they just don't have the pieces to really be this like run center team. We know that their red zone pass rate is lofty. We know that they're leading the league in pass rate over expectation. So I would not be shocked come Monday to look back and Rashee Rice has an easy 12 targets at 5,600 this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. Awesome. All right. Got our 2 primary, or our 2 chalky pieces, I should say, in there. So where do you want to go next here? Do you want to look at a stack or something like that?
Yeah, let's go our primary, and we're going to keep targeting these Cowboys. We're just going to keep targeting them. So we'll go a full primary, and we're going to include the running back to make this a little bit different. So we'll go Jaden Daniels, we'll go Bill Crocky-Merrit, and we will go Terry McLaurin. McLaurin has missed the last 3 games, I believe, with that quad injury. I'd expect to see him on the practice field this week. And I would expect him to immediately jump back into like a primary option. Deebo Samuel has continued to gut out multiple injuries over the last 3 games, almost by like team necessity. Like, the team has needed him because their pass catching core is like Chris Moore and McCaffrey, like Luke McCaffrey behind Deebo right now. So each of those guys scored a touchdown last week, but they're not like primary type wide receiver guys. Terry McLaurin had a slow start after the holdout stuff in the preseason, came back, played 3 games, 2 and some change before getting injured. But I would expect he's going to play this week. And again, this is Tuesday, a lot of speculation here, but I would expect he's going to play this week. And if he does, in that primary downfield role for this offense, an offense that has struggled to attack deep, without him on the field, I would expect he has a floor of 6 to 8 targets and potentially could see more in like the top downfield matchup in the league against the Cowboys. So we're going to try and double dip on his potential or eventual return, or hopeful return, I should say, and just attack this offense. Say like, this team like hasn't been great at putting up points, at sustaining drives. Now with their primary downfield option could open up their offense a little bit more, and we'll just kind of attack the entirety of the offense through those 3 primary pieces.
Yeah, love it, man. Dallas, they've just been a dream to attack from an offensive standpoint. So, okay, you got your primary 3 commanders in there: Jaden Daniels, Bill Crocky-Merrit, Terry McLaurin. Are you thinking of doing a Dallas bring back? And I mean, this game is just far and away the highest total by a long shot.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need to, I don't think. And the reason for that is I expect CeeDee Lamb to come back. That said, he's dealing with an ankle injury. We have to question his efficiency coming back from an ankle injury in his first game. We have to question how many snaps he's going to play, how much is he going to be on the field as far as route participation goes. So if this team is now back to full strength, and CeeDee Lamb comes back, but he's not at full strength, it does enough for me to like say, well, I don't know if Jake Ferguson is going to lead the team in targets this week. Like, I don't know if we're going to see George Pickens lead the team in receiving this week. At the same time, I don't know if there's full upside to say, like, Pickens is priced at 7,300. CeeDee Lamb's priced at 7,500. They're within 200. I don't know if we need to go to really anybody here. We've seen Javonte Williams be like kind of reinvigorate this run game, but he had that down game last week. There is a chink in the armor, so to speak. Like, he's not the hefty floor play that we thought he was. And that was a weird game environment where the Cowboys were hitting on some big plays, and it kind of just turned into this back and forth second half game. I got to go back and rewatch that because I was not able to watch it yet. But I just kind of think with the way that we're constructing this roster around 2 chalky pieces, the first 2 pieces we put in, I think there are some things that we can do differently without straying too far from optimal theory. And one of those things is double stacking a quarterback, including the running back, and not having a bring back.
Exactly. Because that automatically kind of makes your line of construction different than what most people will already be thinking of doing.
Right. Along those same lines, we'll look to save some salary. So we need to save some salary a little bit. We paid up for, just because of the quarterback that we're using, we paid up for an expensive primary. We had DJ Moore, who was hospitalized after their game last night, and we don't really know anything else. He appeared to be injured. We don't know what it was in that game. I was watching that game because I was working it for NBC. And then he came back, finished the game deep into the fourth quarter, and then was hospitalized. Like, we don't know what happened. We don't know what's going on. Just a very weird situation. We also have a Chicago team that came out of their bye in week 5, expecting to see like the rookies on the team contributing a little bit more. And we saw that with Luther Burden, where he was involved in the offense a little bit more. So if we have those 2 pieces working together, if DJ Moore misses here, Luther Burden more involved, he's priced at only 4,300, and he's already shown a solid ceiling in a downfield role in this offense.
Yeah.
And now the team is playing the Saints. So a lot of things working for Luther Burden this week, and he's priced at only 4,300. I don't expect he's going to really, really get steamed too much, even if reports come out that like DJ Moore, whatever happens with DJ Moore, I don't expect him to get steamed too much here. So he provides a solid salary relief value option for us here at 4,300. So we'll put him in.
Love that.
We're also going to go value at tight end. Now, there's a lot of solid pay up options at tight end this week. The Arizona Cardinals are likely to be without, I would say, Marvin Harrison Jr. this week after he was concussed. Typically what we've seen is a missed game for concussions this season. So Trey McBride is a fantastic on paper play. Travis Kelce works well if you're stacking up Mahomes. Pair Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce with Mahomes. We did not go that route, and we already have Rashee Rice, so we're not going to go to Kelce. Jake Ferguson, we just talked about. There's a wider range of outcomes with CeeDee Lamb potentially coming back. So Tyler Warren is well involved in that offense. A little bit more difficult matchup against the Chargers, but like Tucker Kraft is there. Like all these players are solid on paper plays, but we're going to go and save some salary here with Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor led the team in targets 2 weeks ago with 12. And now we have Garrett Wilson, who's going to miss multiple weeks with a hyperextended knee. So Mason Taylor now, it's like Josh Reynolds is going to be the alpha wide receiver. Okay. We're just going to go to the rookie tight end here, Mason Taylor, in a spot where this Carolina Panthers, again, we kind of know what we're going to get with Ejiro Evero's defense. It is low pressure rates, it's low blitz rates, it's hefty cover 3 rates, and they've been playing a little bit better within that structure, but it's still a cover 3 defense that, again, primary targets over the intermediate areas of the field are going to have a heyday against that. So that is likely to me to be Mason Taylor for this Jets offense. We don't like buying into the Jets. Like Justin Fields has played pretty poor football. It's an 0-6 team. The list goes on, but the matchup is good for Taylor. The volume expectation should be there with Garrett Wilson out of the lineup, and he costs only $3,400. So if we were to say like we have a path to double-digit targets at $3,400, like that's a proposition we kind of want to be interested in here.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, so far we got Jaden Daniels, primary stack, Crocky-Merrit, and McLaurin with Judkins and Rashee Rice. And then we got a couple of value pieces, Luther Burden and Mason Taylor. So 2 spots left here, Hilow.
This is why we saved up the salary. We're going to go to Jonathan Taylor. He is alone at the top of the running back position with Christian McCaffrey not on the slate. Devon Achane is probably going to see a heftier target load, but it's a difficult matchup against Cleveland. So it's kind of Jonathan Taylor or bust as far as pay up running backs go. So we're going to go to JT, just a guy that is particularly in wins has been so good for this Colts team. And what I like most about this spot is not that like the Colts are favored even, it's that we expect this game to be competitive. So yes. If this game is competitive, Jonathan Taylor should be relied upon. He already has 3 touchdown games this season. And we should expect, a floor of 20 to 22 carries with pass game work mixed in there. He's seen, and this is kind of, I think, what has been most overlooked from Taylor this season. He's seen 4 or more targets in each of the last 4 games.
Oh, that's huge.
So when we talk about like the path to elite fantasy production at running back this season, in this era of down, of like lower pass game involvement from the position as a whole, we need like 100 yards on the ground and multiple touchdowns, or 100 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown, and then enough receiving work to make up for that missed touchdown. On 4 targets, I mean, he's gone 4 for 14 yards, 3 for 20 yards, 5 for 20 yards, and 3 for 16 yards in each of the last 4 games. That's about a touchdowns production if we average it out. As far as fantasy points go in PPR format. So like he has like the exact profile we're looking for. He's priced up to 8,800 on a slate now where we're kind of struggling to see value early in the week. I don't think that his ownership is going to get too crazy. He's going to be owned, but we're likely not going to see it get like 25+%. And I just think that he is the safest like floor ceiling play on the slate, at first perusal. So we'll throw him in. And the value that options that we put in the roster, they still carry upside and allow us to take this swing on the expensive Jonathan Taylor.
Yes, sir. Love it, man. And then okay, let me see if I can guess what you're going to go with here. I mean, Miami has pieces, but are you going to go with Cleveland D here? Or are you going to go a different direction?
I'm going to go a different direction.
D hasn't been great, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to go a different direction. And we're going to go the Bears. The Bears have like quietly been very fantasy friendly up to this point. They have scored 9 DK points or more in 4 of 5 games. They've generated 3 or more turnovers in each of their last 3 games. And again, those games are against the Cowboys, the Raiders, and the Commanders. But like those are not like bottom feeder offenses outside Las Vegas, kind of. But they generated 4 turnovers against the Cowboys. They generated 3 against the Commanders. They're getting pressure in the backfield. So like against the Saints team again, and this is another like potential leverage spot in that we shouldn't expect a ton of ownership already on Luther Burden, but like even less so paired with their defense. That's not typically something we see is like outside of a game environment bet, a defense paired with a pass catcher. But if you think like rationally, how is Luther Burden scoring where does his ceiling come from? It's from like deep shots. It's from bulk scoring. It's from like very, very
play or something like that.
Yeah, no, very like Rashid Shaheed-esque, we'll say, in that he is like working the downfield areas of the field. And if he's going to pop, he could pop hard at minimal volume. So we're not necessarily looking for like I wouldn't play like the Cowboys defense with CeeDee Lamb where like you need the volume for CeeDee.
Yes.
I wouldn't play the Giants. And then again, we're not really looking to play the Cowboys or the Giants defense, but like just to show an example of what we're talking about here, I wouldn't play like the Giants defense with Malik Neighbors where you need the volume for those archetype of players. You can play the Saints defense with Rashid Shaheed. Like you can play the Bears defense with Luther Burden, these downfield options. So I think we'll round it out with that and just say like 9 or more DK points in 4 or 5 games is pretty comfy at 3,100.
Absolutely, man. That finishes out this build. Love it. I mean, again, like on a week like this where salary is tight, got both Jaden Daniels and Jonathan Taylor in at this lineup, building around some chalky pieces. The final build is Jaden Daniels with Quinshon Judkins, Crocky-Merrit, Bill Crocky-Merrit. I'm going to mess that name up a lot. Rashee Rice, Terry McLaurin, Luther Burden, Mason Taylor, Jonathan Taylor, and Bears D. And again, a 10-game slate, like salaries are pretty tight. You got to find those pieces that could potentially get you 30. And 2 of them in here, really, Jaden Daniels. I like his upside in this matchup. Hilow, anything you want to add before we ship this one off, man?
No, man. Just follow along later on in the week. Obviously, our thoughts at OWS will become more refined as the week progresses. Tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday are my writing up the edge games, so check those out. And then Friday, searching for ceiling. And Saturday is when my end around the game theory piece comes out, and then the Slate podcast for Inner Circle members. That is the meat and potatoes right there.
It is. It's a must listen for me every week. Guys, you heard it all. Hilow, he is on YouTube, so you can catch him free in searching for ceiling on Fridays at noon, then end around and the slate are in 1 week season. Of course, you can read all the edge write-ups for free with an OWS free account. Certainly check that out as well. Guys, thanks for tuning in to our early week look here as we look ahead to week 7. Hilow, take it easy, man. Thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, man.